Woo! What's going on, guys? Lawrence Forum coming to you guys today with another video. Today's video, we're going to do the aftermath of Week 9 Detroit Lions at the Green Bay Packers. Lions win this game 24-14. Lions going up to 7-1. Packers falling to 6-2. Lions first place in the division and with a really nice, comfortable lead right now. It's still kind of close. It's not really too comfortable, but winning those two division games is, I think, a huge plus, especially on the road, beating Green Bay and beating Minnesota. Humongous. So huge win by the Lions. These NFC matchups, these North matchups, it's a must win, especially when it's in your division. So let's get some news right away before we get to the injuries. The Lions did waive defensive lineman Chris Smith. He did play last night a little bit in that Packer game. And linebacker Abraham Boplay was actually waived as well. Jameson Williams is supposed to be coming back from suspension, so maybe that gives one spot in the roster. But then there's like one extra roster. There's speculation going on that we're going to make a trade for something, for an edge or whatever they're going to do. Are they going to do it? They have until tomorrow, 5 o'clock, I think is the deadline, 4 or 5. I've been on board with, I think they're making a move. At this point, it's getting a little bit frustrating that they haven't, but I get it. They want to wait till the last second. There's all kinds of speculation about Zadarius Smith from the Cleveland Browns coming. He was apparently already coming. Adam Schefter telling the world that it's pretty much in stone. Then kind of backtracking today on Pat McAfee, saying, well, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. There's still a team out there. He could go elsewhere. And so just kind of backtracking. Who knows? These guys love clicks and views. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, man. And they try to put out stuff before anybody else does, so they get that credit. So it's we'll see. There's lots of time. There's over 24 hours, about 24 hours left. So let's see what happens. And then there's time afterwards too, if they can make deals. Like, it's not just at 5 and bang, it stops. So like 5 tomorrow. So, but let's talk about some injuries. In-game inactives. Lions, we are first because we are the road team. Linebacker Jalen Reeves-Maybin, special teamer guy, kind of getting some snaps too because no Malcolm had a shoulder injury. Obviously, guys like Derek Barnes, Aiden Hutchinson, Marcus Davenport, Ifeatu Melifonwu, Pascal, Malcolm Rodriguez, all guys for out. Big key contributor guys missing this football game. We're out as well too. But other than in-game injuries, you didn't see a lot except for Jalen Reeves-Maybin. Hopefully he can come back because he's a really good special teamer, a good backup. Packers defensive lineman Colby Wooden had a shoulder injury as well. That was in-game. And then they were missing guys like cornerback Jair Alexander. They had Evan Williams out, the rookie safety, was a good one. And then center Josh Myers, a starter as well. So they had a couple guys out, and especially missing their center there because they had some trouble snapping the football in Lambeau last night. Then let's go to the stats. We do the Lions first. Quarterback Jared Goff was 18 for 22, 145 yards and a touchdown, 81% completion percentage. He was crisp. He was really good. He was even like, I believe at one point, either 11 for 11 or 12 for 12 at one point. He was sniping the ball. He looked good. He looked a little bit wobbly at first. His first couple passes were a little bit, where he had trouble kind of getting the ball off. He was wearing 2 gloves apparently on the one hand. So, the weather was bad. It was pouring rain. It wouldn't let up at all. So he had a couple pairs of gloves on. He was only sacked once too. And then running back David Montgomery was 17 for 73 yards, 4.3 yards a carry. And running back Jahmyr Gibbs was 11 for 65 and a touchdown, 5.9 yards a carry. He's been nothing but excellent. And we ran the ball extremely well. As a unit, they tried to do a little reverse thing at the end of the, kind of at the late in the fourth, mid-fourth, whatever it was. Tried to do like one of those trick plays, and Raymond got stuffed like 11 yards deep. And then, but we had like 124 yards as a unit, so we're running the ball really well. In receiving, it wasn't great numbers, but Amon-Ra St. Brown had 7 catches for 56 yards and a touchdown on 8 yards a catch, 7 targets. Sam Laporta, 2 for 28. 14 yards a catch, 3 targets. Running back David Montgomery had 3 for 23 and 7.7 yards a catch, 3 targets. Tim Patrick, wide receiver, was 2 for 12, 6 yards a catch, 2 targets, and wide receiver Allen Robinson. I think it was his first catch as a Lion, only 2 yards though, on 2 yards a catch on only 1 target. So nothing spectacular from the wide receivers. Amon-Ra St. Brown getting in the end zone again, for the 6th straight game was something he always does, and had a great celebration. Check it out. Tom Brady was chuckling. It was a really good celebration. It was Drake London did it for the Atlanta Falcons too, and it all started from a guy that did it in college on Saturday. Some kid did it on it was like a homage to some type of either Fortnite, breakdancing back in the 70s and the 80s. It was one of those things. It's a breakdancing move. It's a breakdancing move standing on top of your head. You got to check it out. It's actually pretty cool. Then let's go to the defense. Linebacker Jack Campbell had 13 tackles. Had a nice game from him. Cornerback Carlton Davis III, 7 tackles, 2 pass breakups. Safety Brandon Joseph, 6 tackles. Missing out on Brian Branch getting kicked out of this football game. I'll talk about it right now before I forget. He got kicked out of this football game. He came in, hit a defenseless receiver. The defensive receiver was going down. It was an incomplete pass. The ball went over, whatever it was. Brian Branch was coming in. I'm not arguing that the play was, if they want to call it dirty, whatever you want. He did graze him in the helmet. He hit him in the helmet with his helmet. He led with his shoulder and helmet, and he hit him. The 15 yards I was fine with. But then upstairs, New York, whatever it is, it goes to upstairs. They had time to look at it, and they ejected him from the ball game. It was a terrible call, I think, ejecting him from the ball game, because they were saying that he had time to pull up. How do you know he had time to pull up? It's just, to be able to gauge that, I guess it's just a guesstimate, but it's a terrible call. It's just a bad football call. There was games yesterday where you saw guys getting stretchered off the field, and 15 yards were called, but nobody booted. I guess they booted him though, because they're saying he had time to make a move where he could have let up. So I think with Brian Branch is a bit of a hothead. He is. I'm not gonna lie, because he went nuts on the refs, which I don't blame him for. But then he started giving up the middle finger to the Packer fans. So now they're talking about, is this guy going to get suspended? Is he going to get fined? I don't think he's going to get suspended. Fined 100%. He's been fined more than 2-3 times this year already. I know for a horse collar. I know he had a couple years back. I think last year he took out Bijan Robinson pretty good. He hit him with a helmet. He's done a couple. He's gotten into a fight a little bit at Arizona. He had like 215. I believe it was 215 yarders against Arizona. Fighting. I don't think he got flagged for that though. I don't think he got flagged for the fighting, but they flagged him. But they fined him anyways. But he had a horse collar. He's had some things. Brian Branch is a great player. Don't get me wrong. I love him. I don't want him to change. I don't. But he's a little bit of an animal on the field. He is, and but I don't think he was intentionally trying to hurt that guy. But I don't think he should have been tossed. But he's going to be probably a little bit lighter in the wallet if he hasn't already. I don't know if he's gotten it, but it's coming. So Brandon Joseph had 6 tackles. So I just didn't think he deserved to get kicked out, and we still won the football game, by the way. Alex Anzalone, linebacker, had 6 tackles, tackler for loss, and a QB hit. Cornerback Terrion Arnold, the rookie, had 5 tackles. Safety Kirby Joseph, 4 tackles, pass deflection, and a pick 6, interception for a touchdown on a really bad throw by Jordan Love. Don't know what he was trying to do there. Defensive lineman Levi Ruzarike had 4 tackles. He had a pressure. I think he was the big cause for that interception. I'm pretty sure it was him who was really on top of Jordan Love. Defensive tackle Lee McNeil had 2 tackles and a quarterback hit. He had like 7 pressures alone. He was a man possessed. The center, the guard, 2 guards, center, they could not contain him all day. He didn't put up a lot of numbers in the stat sheet, but he was big on pressures. Houston had four pressures himself. Didn't do anything great on the numbers wise, but he was constantly pressuring. Love 4 times is nice, and then Trevor Nowoski, the linebacker, had 2 himself, but 0 sacks, guys, 0 sacks. I love the way Aaron Glenn is doing this team, is playing this team with this defense. They're coming after guys. They're a bend but don't break defense. They're giving up a bunch of yards. We'll talk about that at the end here, but no sacks. And I think they'll be so much better with sacks. So I'm still kind of hoping for somebody to come in, at least one or two guys to bring in to kind of help in that department just to get home, because nobody's getting home. That's the problem. I think it's going to become a problem, but I can't be too upset about it because we are winning football games. And then Jake Bates was 1 for 1 on field goals, 27-yarder. Didn't ask much of him there, but he hit all 3 extra points. And then wide receiver Isaiah Williams and Cleo Dorsey had 1 good kick return each. Man, both averaged 30 plus. I think Dorsey with a 30 average, and then Williams had a nice 36-yard return. So that's good there. And then Jack Fox doing his thing and just 50 yards, a punt, just doing his thing, man. Looking really good out there. Now let's talk about the Packers. 58.9% completion percentage for Jordan Love at 23 for 39, 273 yards. Had an interception, no touchdowns. He did have 3 fumbles, 0 loss though. That was kind of a center problem there. Bad snaps. I thought maybe one of them, 1 or 2 weren't his fault. There was a couple low snaps by that center there. I don't remember who the backup's name was, but because their original Myers wasn't playing. But rushing the ball, running back Josh Jacobs had a great game for them. 13 rushes for 95 yards at 7.3 yards a carry. He was a man possessed. He couldn't stop him. Running back Emmanuel Lewis was 4 for 28, touchdown, 7 yards a carry. He had a fumble recovery himself. Running back Chris Brooks was 2 for 13, 6.5 yards a carry. They had 138 yards as a unit. The Lions had a lot of trouble containing their run game all game. Receiving, wide receiver Jaden Reed had a big game, 5 for 113 yards, 22.6 yards a catch, 6 targets. Wide receiver Christian Watson, 3 for 37. He had a 2-point conversion as well on Terrion Arnold. It was a tough one. 12.3 yards a catch, 7 targets. Tight end Tucker Kraft was 4 for 34, 8.5 yards a catch, 6 targets. Wide receiver Romeo Dobbs had 4 for 28, 7 yards a catch, 5 targets. And then running back Chris Brooks had 3 catches for 28 yards at 9.3 yards a catch at 4 targets. And Josh Jacobs himself had a couple catches as well. Defensively, linebacker Quay Walker for them had 12 tackles. Is a good linebacker. Cornerback Keyshawn Nixon, 6 tackles, QB hit. Linebacker rookie Edgar Cooper had 6 tackles. Safety Xavier McKinney, 6 tackles. Safety rookie Javon Bullard, 5 tackles. Linebacker Isaiah McDuffie, 5 tackles and a tackle for loss. Defensive end Rashawn Gary had 4 tackles, tackle for loss, QB hit, and half a sack. Defensive end Kingsley Enagbare had 4 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. Defensive end Aaron Mosby, 1 tackle, QB hit, half a sack as well. Defensive lineman Colby Wooden had a tackle and a QB hit. Quay Walker doing his thing. I thought Cooper was going to have a little bit better game as a rookie. 6 tackles, still not a bad game, but he was playing really well. I thought our O-line played pretty good against their pass rush. Their linebackers can rush a bit. They got their defensive ends aren't really getting home this year like Gary and those guys, but their linebackers are doing most of their work. And only I think he was only sacked once. Goff was only sacked once, half a sack. 2 guys got to him, Gary and Mosby. So, they did a good job. But let's talk about this game overall, guys. It was a muddy game. It was rainy. It didn't let up. Sloppy at first. Goff was kind of struggling a little bit on offense. Not struggling. I don't want to say struggling. It just seemed the ball didn't seem to be coming out. Then he started getting comfortable. Tom Brady was talking about this. He's like, you can tell he needs to get comfortable out there. He's a California kid. And Brady, man, I actually love listening to Tom Brady. I know he gets a lot of flack. He gets a lot of flack because it's Brady. It's perfect Brady, but he's a football guy. You can just tell. And he was just saying, he goes, he's a California kid. It's like Brady. Brady's like the same type of guy. I think Brady came from California. Played at Michigan though, but I don't really know 100% where he was born and raised, Brady. But I'm pretty sure he was a California kid. But anyways, he was just saying, he goes, he just has to get used to the elements. And, the Lions, they come into this game not playing an outdoor game. I guess that Arizona game, it was a retractable roof, but the roof was closed because it was like 107 degrees that day. I didn't know that. And then, we haven't played an outdoor game. This was our first outdoor game. I thought we played an outdoor game somehow, Arizona or something like that. But obviously we didn't. And Goff, a couple throws. It took him, a couple wobbly, couple sloppy throws. But he was like 11, 12 for 12 at one point. And he just started getting into a rhythm. He didn't throw the ball a ton, didn't need to. That's just the way this offense is. And, we ran the ball well with one of the best duos in the NFL, over 130 plus yards on the ground between both of Gibbs and Montgomery. Get in the end zone with Gibbs on a 4th down call. Both of our touchdowns, by the way, were on 4th downs. Both of them. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown's was on a 4th down, was on a 4th and goal. And then Gibbs' touchdown was on a 4th and 1. Or a 4th and 2, whatever, or 4th and inches, whatever it was. So both, just Dan the man, knowing that you got to score touchdowns to win in the NFL. You have to score touchdowns to win in the NFL. You just have to. I argue with people about this all the time, man. It's like field goals can win you a game at the end, but kicking only field goals will not win you football games. Just remember that. You just have to remember that. But anyways, this offense was good, man. Goff was great. They kept him pretty damn clean. A few pressures here and there, obviously. Sacked him once, but we ran the ball well, kept Goff clean. Amon-Ra St. Brown did his thing, scored at least, not big yards through the air. We didn't need it. And then defensively, that's a good offense in Green Bay. Now, we played a gimpy quarterback. Love probably should have, I don't know, just in my opinion, but this is why I sit behind this desk and not a coach's desk on an NFL team. I probably would have played Malik Willis at least one point, because Love looked terrible in the first half. Looked a little bit better in the second half, but nothing to where it was like totally like noticeable. But he seemed to be running around a little bit better in the second half. He probably got shot up at second half because he was gimping around in that first half. Because they were chasing him around a lot. They were chasing him around. They just couldn't get to him. Couldn't get home. And Josh Jacobs for them ran the ball extremely well for them. Just no touchdowns for him. Manuel Wilson got in on a late touchdown, very late in the 4th quarter, garbage time. Love had a couple big throws. We went up, 17-3 at halftime. 17-3 at halftime, scored again in the 3rd quarter, make it 24-3. They kicked a field goal, then they got a late touchdown in that football game, and that was it. The game was over. They tried an onside, we got it back, and the game was over, pretty much. We kind of coasted a little bit. I don't like using that word coast, but we coasted a little bit in that second half, especially after we scored that touchdown. But we're still not getting home on defense. We're playing a bend but don't break defense. Don't get me wrong, man. I love what Glenn's doing. I'm not going to shit on this parade right here, man, because we're playing really good football right now, guys. We're playing extremely. I'm not going to lie. I think we're either the best team in football or we're number 2. Really, I really think this. The Chiefs are not playing great football, but they're 7-0 for a reason. They played tonight against Tampa Bay. They're not even playing good football, and they're 7-0. If they start clicking, look out. And teams like Baltimore, that team scares me. Anybody really else? No. Philadelphia's playing a little bit better ball. They had a close one against Jacksonville, though. But that's a good football team in the NFC East, I think. But I think we're either number 1 or number 2. I'd probably put us at 2. I put us at 2. I'm not going to try to be too much of a homer because I don't like to do that. But I think if we played KC, I tell you, we'd probably walk out of that game victorious. I'm just giving some respect to the Super Bowl champions, even though Goff is fantastic against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Even as a Ram, he was. So, and he's beat him as a Detroit Lion as well. So, but yeah, man, great defensively, great offensively, bend but don't break on defense. Giving up some yards, not letting a lot of teams score. I think there's a stat out there saying that we have given up maybe 5 or 6 touchdowns in like the first 9 weeks. That hasn't happened since the 80s. That's incredible. That's incredible right now. We're just playing really good football. especially just like we're up there and taking the ball away. That's what we bank on. Kirby Joseph did that. You got to love what he's doing right now. You have to love what you just got to love what Glenn is doing. I just think it would be so much better if we got some more pass rush help. I just think we could be so much better. I think we're so close to being almost perfect. No team's ever perfect, but man, this team is just, they're on a mission. They can play anywhere. Nobody gave us just, I'm not going to say nobody, but a lot of people didn't give us a shot in this game because we were going to be that dome team going up and playing in Lambeau in the slop. Dan Campbell came out and said, you guys don't think, I'm telling you, we can play anywhere. We can play any type of element you want to put us in. We're going to come out and we're going to smash you in the mouth. And that's what they did. So I love the way we're looking on both sides of the ball. I don't know if I missed on anything. You know, the Brian Branch thing is super annoying. You know, I'm going to touch on it again. I think it was a bad call by the upstairs, New York, whatever it is, that has to handle that stuff. I'm not going to say that, you know, it's because they're doing it because they don't like us. I just think it was a bad call. Because you've seen it during the week. You've seen it yesterday. You saw Chris Olave get stretchered out for the Saints. You know, bang, by two guys. 15 yards, don't get me wrong, but nobody got booted. And then you seen it in the Seattle Rams game. Seattle Rams game, boom. The guy from Seattle just lays out, I think it was Demarcus Robinson. Great hit. They threw the flag, they picked it up. They even picked up that flag. You know, they let them play football. On that one, you know, the 15-yard on Branch, okay, I get it. It was a 15-yarder, man. I do get it. But to be ejected, saying that he could have let up, come on, man. How can you make that call? That's a damn good football game right there. And you're taking off the best player on the field for the defense on the Detroit Lions at that time. And we're one of the best. You know, him and Kirby are damn good this year. But you're going to actually do that to the Lions? Weak call. That was just a weak call. But that's it, guys. 22 minutes and change. Lions victorious, 7-1, number 1 in the division right now. 2-0 in the division. You know, beating the Packers, beating the Vikings. Love it. You know, up next we play the Houston Texans. We're at 6-3. They're first place in the AFC South right now, and that's a Sunday night 8:20 game. We'll talk about that a little bit later on down the road. But thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you guys coming in and watching this. You know, the aftermath is over. Thanks a lot, guys. Victorious again. We've won like 5 or 6 in a row. Let's go, Lions. Boom. Let's get another one next week. Thanks a lot, guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button at the bottom right. Don't forget to hit the notification button up top. Don't forget to like, comment, share this out. Detroit, grit. Detroit versus everybody. Let's go. Boom. First place, baby.